chat on my channel. Thank you so much for coming to this channel. My name is Cindy, and I'm really excited to talk to you today. I did not go live yesterday. I had a lot going on, and I just really needed my brain. So I was just very contemplative all the way to the state house yesterday. We had a big day, huge day yesterday at the state house. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about education. And first of all, the weather. I wish I had a weather on my car. I used to have the number right in front, and I don't know what changed. So I have to fix that, but it's freezing today. I mean, went out of the house to, if it's really cold, I'll just start the car, and I live in the country, so it's safe. I don't usually see people in my yard, but I just start the car. I don't have an electric car starter, so I just start it, and then I go back into the house and do a few things. And so there was frost on the car this morning. So it's around, 30 degrees. It's cold. It's very cold. But I did look at my weather for the day, and it's supposed to get up into the upper 50s. And it's Friday. Yay, TGIF. It's Friday. I love Fridays. Fridays at our school, we also get done 1 hour early. So that's another cool thing about Friday. Fridays just seem to, the school day flies by. I have a lot to do today. I wasn't in school yesterday, so I have school today, getting some kids caught up on like getting ready for some tests next week. Next week is the end of the quarter, so we're finalizing our, last minute grades. And I also have a tutoring student today at noontime. I also have paperwork to do to get ready for next week. We had our library trustee election, and we got a new trustee put into position. So Monday night, we will have library trustee meeting, and I'm really excited about that because we're going to start new and fresh with new ideas and progress, and I'm really excited about that. So I got to work on the agenda today. And so I brought my books in the back. I've got my lunch. I have a little tiny crock pot that I put my lasagna in. I have a little bit of lasagna left over from this past week that I made, and I'm looking forward to eating that for lunch. Whatever it takes to help you look forward to the next thing, right? Wow, the sky is really pretty, and there's lots of clouds. I noticed that some of my friends got up and saw the blood moon, and unfortunately, when I got up to look, the moon was there, but it wasn't red. It was a full moon, though. It was really pretty. That was probably about 5 a.m. or so. And I looked at it, and I was like, shoot, I missed it. But I did get some sleep, so that's good, Um, so the sky looks really pretty, though. We have some really pretty colors. As I turn this corner, you'll see behind me or next to me. And so it's supposed to be kind of warm today, and it's supposed to get into the 60s on Saturday and on Sunday. So it's cold this morning, but it will warm up through the day, which will be good because kids will be able to have some time to run around outside during school. Yeah, all right. Hey, upgraded Shadow Titan TV man. Hey, thanks for coming to this channel. My name is Cindy, and my channel is about teachers and what teachers do in their free time and all about teacher life. And I'm on my way to school right now, and I'm talking about the weather in New Hampshire, and it's pretty cold. It's supposed to get into the upper 50s, and so here we go. It's Friday, so TGIF. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. I appreciate you coming to my channel. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I am looking to grow my channel and break out of the I'm stuck at 1,000 mode. So I am at like 1,090 or something like that. And so it's a good number, but I'd like it to go a little higher than that and reach some teacher friends. I do have lots of teacher friends on YouTube. I have other friends that do art and things like that as well. So the dude, yeah, New Hampshire. Thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for the thumbs up. I teach, the dude is asking, what do you teach? I teach math. I teach grades 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I love math. I try to prepare the kids, you know, kind of like catch them up if they haven't caught up, you know, certain things they need to know from the younger years. And then we get ready for Algebra 1. And I love teaching Algebra 1. I think that's my sweet spot. I love Algebra 1. And I also teach geometry. That one's a hard one to teach. So I really like Algebra 1. Geometry is very much a challenge. And I love it. I love the topic. It's just hard to, you know, every student is different in how they learn geometry. You have to memorize a lot of facts and put them all together, do your proofs and all that stuff. So it's a little bit of a challenge, and we just take it one day at a time, like everything else. So good morning. He loved middle school. Most people hated middle school, but, you know, looking back, those were good years, I think. It's a fun time. So anyway, I'm talking about, I also am a state representative for New Hampshire. And yesterday we went to the State House, and I drove up to the State House. I did not do a live because I really had a lot to think about. Oh, cool. Yeah, well, if you need any help with your math, just let me know. I do tutoring also on the side. I don't like school. Okay, well, as long as you like learning, you can learn anything you want to learn in this world. I was talking to somebody about the money that goes into all the education. You know, it's kind of sad. All this money we're putting into education, and most kids don't like school. You know, so what should we do? And they were like, you know, there's going to be people that fall through the cracks if they don't learn what they're supposed to learn. And I was like, if you don't learn if you don't learn stuff this time in history, it's your own fault. Because everything is available. In our state, we have public school. We have Virtual Learning Academy, which is a online virtual type school program. You could stay home and do just that for school. You could mix and match. You can homeschool in New Hampshire. We also just can't, we have new in the last few years, the Education Freedom Account, which you can, if you qualify, you get up to like $4,000 to put towards your education. So you can use that money for, if you're not at the public schools, for people that don't use the public school, you can buy books, you can, you know, if there's something you want to learn, something artistic you want to learn, you can use the Education Freedom Account. You could buy a computer, stuff like that. That's in New Hampshire, and there are other states that are starting to take a look at that. So the kids can go to school. I like science and wood shop. Oh, I love wood shop. I took wood shop in junior high, actually, and loved it myself. I took sewing class and craft class. I never did do cooking in junior high. That was one thing I wanted to do, but I didn't. But, you know, I've learned how to cook since then. So, yeah, I've taught another great resource is outschool.com. Outschool.com has every kind of class you can imagine, and you can teach on that. If you're a teacher, you could take classes if you're a student. And the Education Freedom Account actually pays for Outschool as well. So the EDU board got rid of woodshop a long time ago. Oh, that's terrible. Well, in our school, we do have woodshop in our town, and a lot of people really like it. But never fear, you could do your own woodshop. Go on YouTube and start watching some videos and find some of the simplest things. I went to a class during, the 2020, 2021. I stayed home and we homeschooled, and I took them to a knife class where we, learned how to use a knife, a sharp knife that you could whittle things with. They learned how to whittle. They also learned how to make a spoon just with a knife and a piece of wood. So even something simple like that you could do on YouTube. And, you don't need a lot of extra materials and maybe some sandpaper and a knife. You're good to go. There's also places, I know around me, there are places that have free wood. They make stuff out of wood, so then they put free wood out, or you could get wood pallets. So many ways that you can put wood together or find wood and do projects that don't cost a lot of money and worth your time. And having a knife, I bought everybody really cool knives so that we could keep practicing, but they're still in the box, unfortunately. We might get back to that at some point, but hey, if you want to do a, roasting marshmallows, when you go camping, bring a knife and you can make some marshmallow sticks. Thank you for coming. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great day. So yesterday I went to the statehouse in New Hampshire, and it's about a 40-minute drive. I went to the statehouse and got there before the doors were open. I went to the front door and it was still locked. I think it was like 7:45. And so I went to the back door and I went in, and the governor had breakfast. So I was able to eat with the governor of New Hampshire and some of my fellow representatives. That was really cool. And I was able to talk to the governor. I shook her hand and I talked to her a little bit, mentioned that I have 13 children, and I also thanked her for supporting the Education Freedom Account. And it was pretty amazing moment because I've never been able to shake a governor's hand. And I know that they're not like royalty or anything like that, but they are making a lot of decisions for our state, and they do need our prayers and our support in whatever way possible. So I was thankful for that time. I was able to have a bacon and egg sandwich, kind of like a McDonald's English muffin with bacon and egg, and it was really good. Like, it was perfect. They made a bunch of sandwiches and wrapped them all in tin foil. And they had fruit, they had coffee, all kinds of stuff. They had way more food than they had people. But that was really awesome. And then at 9 o'clock, we meet up with our party group, our caucus, they call it. And we met with the caucus from 9 to 9:45. And then at lunch, I had a great lunch. I went to lunch with my friend that I have known for over 20 years. And probably 25 years I've known her, because we met each other at a church when I moved back to New Hampshire. And we both had little kids. We had children. Some of our children were born at the same time. And she also watched some of my children when I had like my later kids, like Lily probably. Lily is my ninth, and then Lily and Jerry probably. She watched a couple of my kids during that time because she's a stay-at-home mom. She's a homeschooler and stay-at-home mom. And we were friends. We would knit together. She's my knitting friend that I learned a lot of knitting skills from. And way back before YouTube was so popular, I called her Knitting 911. I would call her up and ask her questions about my knitting project and stuff. So really, really crazy how life brings people together. I don't know. I know it's also the Lord and his spirit, but it was just so cool. I had lunch with her yesterday in her office because she works in the statehouse in the tech department. She has an office in the basement of the statehouse, and she's been there for 10 years. And I haven't really talked to her much in all that time, but we talked yesterday like it was old times. It was really fun. That was really amazing. And then we had voting and more voting yesterday. And we were up till 5 o'clock. And there's a lot of older people that are in the state house, and everybody was tired. And it was getting toward the end. And I've realized that at the end of the sessions, there's always something special. It feels like dessert. Like in the morning, I had the appetizer, got to see the governor. Then I had, some really good voting time in the morning. Then we had lunch. That's kind of like the soup or salad. And then we had the meat, from 1 to 5, and we're exhausted. And then the dessert comes after that when we have speakers. And last week we had a speaker that was from the conservative side of the house, and she talked about women's voices and how women should not be silenced. And it was a really good speech. And we had a little bit of opposition to it from the more liberal side of the house. But then yesterday we had a speech from the liberal side of the house, and I'll say the Democrats, and it actually was a really good speech. This lady had spoken about a couple of bills during the day, and I didn't really agree with her much. So when she got up to speech, I was like, here we go. Wonder what this is going to be about. But it was a really good speech, and she talked about some famous women in New Hampshire, one of them being Krista McAuliffe, that everyone knows, who was the teacher that went up into space, and the Challenger exploded. She is from Concord, which is our state capital, and there's a statue of her out in front of the Capitol. And so she talked about her and a few other people that were famous, owners of companies and things like that. Thank you, Big Potato. So she talked about some famous women, and then she said, but today she wants to honor the women who get up every day and take care of their families and, make sure that everybody has what they need and just do it every day, the hard work of just showing up. And I want to go back and listen to that speech because I really identified with that speech because I really feel the same way. Like, I see so many women just doing so much and just getting up and showing up and being there for their families and their children and those at work and reaching out to those in need and things like that. So I really could identify with that speech, and I really did appreciate it. So that was really good. That was a really good dessert. And then we called it a day, and it was all day. We sit in a chair. It's kind of like the old chairs, theater seats. And they're pretty comfortable, but you're pretty close. Like, you're sitting really close to your seatmates. So you get to know each other pretty good. So far, so good. I haven't had any major mishaps. but I really like my seat. I like everyone I'm sitting with, and I was afraid of how I would feel being in there because personally, I I've had some bad thoughts about people in the government. You know, they're trying to hurt us. They're trying to control us or trying to, they don't care about us, right? So it's really good to know that there are some people in this legislature that do their best to look out for citizens. And we do represent the citizens, and we should be looking out for them. So in New Hampshire, we have 400 representatives, and it's the biggest legislature in the entire country, the third biggest in the world. And we are volunteers. We do not make a salary. We get $100 per year for 2 years. So it is a total literal service to our community. And it's been amazing to be among people that are willing to give of themselves and to make this a priority in their life and to enjoy it. Like, you know, it's a rare group of people. And I do hope that lots of good things happen in our state. I know a lot of people are praying, a lot of people are stepping up to new things in their state to help out. So thank you guys so much for coming to this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you if you have not subscribed. I really love it if you would subscribe to my channel. And I try to come on weekdays at about this time for a car chat. And yesterday I did not come on because I was going north and I wanted some time to just rest my brain, I guess. So I was just kind of like zoning out on my way up to the statehouse, and then I had a really full day. And I was really tired last night. But I went to bed pretty satisfied with all the good things that happened during the day. And yeah, if you got to see the blood moon, lucky you. I did see this morning, I saw the full moon, like before the sun came up completely. And it was, you know, I'm sure the full moon would be tonight, but I guess it's supposed to be an eclipse completely. A solar eclipse or lunar eclipse last night. I think there's another event in the sky coming up toward the end of the month as well. So maybe I'll keep a lookout for that one as well. And right now the sky is kind of very cloudy. Lots of clouds, but it is really pretty. I see the sun peeking through the clouds. It's really pretty. So I'm really fortunate to have this beautiful scenery on my way to work. I've lived in I don't know, I guess I do like, I'm trying to think of, I loved living in South Carolina. It was nice. I lived in South Carolina when I was first in college. I had to finish my college down there, and we lived in town, and I liked it in South Carolina, but there, on the way to work, it wasn't like a beautiful morning. It was more like traffic. It wasn't far to my work, but it was lots of traffic. And then when I lived in Wisconsin, I didn't really get up in the morning because I had little children. So I was mostly taking care of them in the mornings. But there were lots of pretty places. But that big bus next to me is Concord Coach Lines. That is a bus that travels from Concord and other towns on the way to the Boston airport. And I've taken that bus. It's a great way. You can just you park at a bus station, and I think it's like $20 to go to the airport. So I don't really like to drive into Boston. It's about an hour, a little over an hour from my house, and it's possible. I've driven other people to the airport, just drive them up to the door and just drop them off. But for myself, the last couple times I have taken the bus, and it's not too bad. They don't have like, I don't think they run like in the middle of the night. So if you get there, midnight, you might not get a bus. But that's what that is, and I really kind of like that service. That's kind of nice. When I was in junior high, I lived in Manchester, New Hampshire, which is a bigger town. City for New Hampshire standards, but not compared to some states I've been in. It's not that big of a city, but they have public transportation, which is kind of nice. I used to do that when I was a kid. Just take the public transportation. And you can get around to most things in Manchester with that. But the town I live in right now, we don't have public transportation. So we have to drive. And my boys go to school with me, but they drive their own car. So thank you for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. I am also I'm a teacher, and I like to talk about education. I was just watching my friend Kelly's video about education. She had a guest on there. Her name is Kelly Tag. If you're interested in checking that video out, she has a guest on there, and they were just talking about pods, school pods, like the federal government is talking about dismantling the Board of Education, the Federal Board of Education. And everybody's buzzing about what this means. What does this mean? Of course, everybody's scared because he's cutting something out. And they're scared mostly because they want to get the money that they normally get from the federal government. But I think what he's trying to do is downsize with things that we don't actually need. And so my friend Kelly was talking about the whole thing, and her guest asked if she liked pod schools. And that's something a lot of people have talked about in New Hampshire, because in New Hampshire, we have the Education Freedom Account. And just yesterday, we voted on improving that bill and making it available to, there was a income cap on it. And so now we're putting the income a little higher on that. And eventually they want to make it so there's no income cap. So say every kid gets, if you take them out of the public school, you get $5,000. So technically, a teacher like me, if you get 10 students, they each pay you $5,000, you could have a school and you would get $50,000. That sounds like a good idea. It's a consideration, actually. But there's more to it than that. But in New Hampshire, the laws for homeschooling are pretty loose. You can almost do whatever you want as long as your kids are learning and making improvement. And so I think that anything we do to help kids is a win, because we are proving all around the state in New Hampshire. Supposedly we have one of the best states in the country for education. And our kids are not doing very well. And there are a lot of reasons for that. Now, we have a lot of good kids, but when it comes down to it, the math skills are waning. The English skills are waning. And that's one of the reasons why I come to a different school, because I want my kids to have the education that they need. And I don't want all of the rigmarole that happens at the public school with, people say, well, it's important for the kids to be in school for the social benefits, but I don't always think that those social benefits are benefits. So it is what it is. And the best thing I think is if kids learn and they do a good job with their education, be prepared for the future. Those are the things that they need. And if that can be done with the pod schools, that would be great. A lot of people homeschool and they just take care of their own children. But, maybe there's a group of parents, they all work and they want to hire someone else to help out. There are ways to do that too. So I just feel like education, we set up all the schools, we set it all up, we know how many teachers we need, we know how to do all of the things from an administrative point of view, and then the kids just have to do their part, basically. But sometimes it's not meeting the needs of the kids. So we do have to make changes, but when everything is like controlled by either the federal government or the state government, then there's only so many ways that people can manage the actual schools. So that's why a lot of people just say, hey, I'm going to homeschool myself. And I have a friend that did a lot of homeschooling, and then she adopted kids that had special needs, and then she had to reach out and ask for help because, she realized I can't meet all the needs for my children. And so that's what it boils down to, is that parents should make choices for their own children. And they should be the guardian of their children's education. And if they feel that it's better they can't go to public school, then have the kids do that. Just keep an eye on them, make sure you know what your kids are doing. Make sure that you're interested in what they're doing and stay in tune to what their goals are. And that's the best thing you can do. But I do like the idea of education freedom accounts, and I think that it could be something that, like anything, when there's money available, some people could use it for things that they shouldn't use it for. In this case, you can't really use the education freedom account money for anything you want. When you buy something, you have to go to a website. You have to choose what you want. Now, you can shop on Amazon. You can shop on a lot of different places as well. Oh, go ahead. Jeez. This guy, he shouldn't have tried to pull out. He's not on the main road. But he pulled out in front of me, so. Okay, so anyway, yeah, you can't just buy whatever you want with the Education Freedom account. You have to go into a portal, you have to pick out what you want, and then it has to be approved. So you can get anything that has to do with education. You can also buy things, that help, tools for your students. Like for my school, their activities for my school, I can pay for those things with the Education Freedom account as well. So, like when things come up, they send me an invoice and I pay for it with that. They are like an approved entity with that school. And there's other things that, like, my son wanted to take a motorcycle class, and I tried to get reimbursed for that, but they said no. So he did take the class, but he had to pay for it himself. So there's some things sometimes they say no to, but most of the time they do pay for stuff like driver's ed. They do pay for that. And so you just, if you pay for something, you can request to be reimbursed, or you can pay for it right from the portal. So that's how it works. You can't just take the money and go on vacation. I don't know though. Maybe if it's a field trip, maybe you could. Yeah, I'll have to look into that because maybe there's like I was thinking a science museum pass. That might be fun. So anyway, it's a really great thing. I think it's very helpful. I've homeschooled myself for years without any financial help, and that's why I've done little jobs on the side, like Pampered Chef and things like that, to help pay for things for my kids. Also, I was going to say something else, but I forgot. Well, I'm almost on my way to school, and thank you so much for coming to this video. It was a fun chat this morning. TGIF. I hope you have a great day. Please post below. If you watch to the end, I really appreciate it. Have a great day.